Well, a new poll suggests Canadian support for aiding Ukraine in its fight against Russia is fading. Well, CTV's Colton Praill is in Ottawa and joins us live now with the details. Thanks for joining us, Colton. What does the polling say about Canadian support for the war?
Jamie, we're just about at the 2-year anniversary of this war. February 24th is that anniversary, and support has faded quickly, especially when it comes to certain segments of voters. We'll touch on that in a moment. But overall, across Canadians, about 1 in 4 now say that Canada is providing too much support. That's up from 13% back in 2022. At the same time, the number of people who say Canada's not doing enough has been cut in half, 38% to 19%. So across the board, you're seeing less support for aid towards Ukraine, and that happens in every aspect of support. It's not just military aid, it's humanitarian aid, it's embargoes, it's weapons, it's munitions. This goes for any kind of potential aid that Canada has been sending. Voters across all spectrums are less likely to want to see Canada contribute those finances, and this is in part for a lot of reasons. One, we've seen this war stagnate for the majority. Ukraine didn't make the advances that a lot of Western nations were hoping they were going to. Russia hasn't pushed further in. It's been relatively stable for the last several months. At the same time, you have a war in Israel and Gaza, strikes popping up around the Middle East. The attention has diverted from this war elsewhere, and that shows up in this data as well. Prior to this, about 2 in 3 Canadians were closely tracking the Ukraine war. Now it's less than half, and so as that attention dwindles, so does the support, and it shows up especially on party lines, and this is where it gets really interesting. Liberals and NDPs, when this war first started in May 2022, when this polling was originally done, about 5% said Canada was doing too much. Now that number is up to 10% for Liberal voters, 12% for NDP voters. But for a Conservative voter, it's a very different story. This polling found about 19% at the start of the war thought it was too much support. Now that number is almost 1 in 2. 43% of Conservative voters think the country is doing too much, and that really shows the political schism when it comes to this conflict.
That's CTV's Colton Praill. We appreciate the update. Thank you.
Anytime.